All right. So I am here with Mr. Brian Canady, and we're doing our first business leader spotlight. And I thank you for coming in. We've got a little bit of history together. Brian came to me 11, 12 years ago, right after a knee surgery, and had some serious inflammation. And we actually accelerated his rehab, got him back on the ice quicker. He's a hockey player, so you know as well as I do, they have a lot of issues with their knees. But as we get older, everything starts to kind of go kaput if we don't do something about it. So what we're going to do today is we're not doing his legs. He wanted to focus on upper body, so we're doing shoulders, traps, and lats. And while we're doing the session, we're going to be talking a little bit about his business, a lot about his business, and a little bit about mine. So let's get him started. And so basically, I'm going to get you turned on. We got it set at the Russian stim frequency. I have Brian in the stim suit that I came up with about 25 years ago, so that you stay discreetly covered while we're able to focus on the muscles. And here we go. So we're going to turn up the left shoulder. Feel that?
Yep.
Right shoulder.
Yep.
Or this is your traps, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we left lat. Oh.
That's right.
And your right lat.
Yep.
So what I'm gonna let you do is, because you know your threshold, what I want you to do is, as we're talking, just gradually start very gently turning those knobs. And then what I want you to feel is like a grab like that, and then that's your threshold. Stay there. Okay. So if you might need to back off a little bit, but just gradually turn it up. Yeah, there you go. No, right here, and here. So these four right here.
Got it.
Right here. Right there. This one. There we go. Yeah, so the four to the far right.
Got it.
So Brian,
went down.
Oh, it's on and off cycle.
Oh.
So basically it cycles on and off.
Got it.
So let's leave it till the light comes on. Otherwise you'll have us get some surprises and stuff. So tell me a little bit about what you've been doing over the last 11, 12 years. I mean, we've run into each other, periodically out in public, but
Yeah. My wife Tiffany and I have been doing real estate, so we did residential real estate did some house flips, was able to.
And that's a fun game in itself, isn't it? Challenging.
Really, it's difficult. Yeah, it's humbling.
I saw the homeless people living in the houses and just.
Yeah, we have a lot of experiences with homeless and just properties not going as planned.
Sure.
So we did a bunch of them. Tiffany still does some as well. Not really full flips.
Right.
But some cosmetic flips and flooring,
Okay.
bathrooms, kitchen, things like that.
I'm gonna kind of keep you going while you're talking.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
How's that feeling?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I see it working. So, and then you got involved in commercial real estate recently.
I went into commercial real estate back in October.
Okay.
I think in October-ish.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So, in the market, what are you seeing like as far as? And one thing I want to say about Brian and Tiffany is, when I first met them, I remember you basically, you bootstrapped it, starting your businesses. You started from the ground up, literally charging credit cards to get your business going. Yeah. But, it just shows you adaptability in the market and consistency, perseverance. You got to have that intestinal fortitude and just keep moving with the tide, but have a vision. And I think that's what you've always been, a visionary. Yeah. You see things as they could be, not as they are. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of pushed me towards commercial, let Tiffany still focus on the residential.
Right.
And then just add another pillar to what we're doing.
Right. Okay. In the market, as far as commercial real estate, there's been a lot of changes in the market, I guess, since COVID.
Yeah.
But what are you seeing, like, what type of businesses are you being approached with most as far as like your commercial spaces? Is it service, restaurant, construction?
Probably industrial.
Industrial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the blue collar workers that that we desperately need.
Mm-hmm.
But the dent repair, the hail repair, the paint guy, the mechanic.
Right.
A lot of demand for just space in general, because they're usually are small business owners.
Mm-hmm.
So their rent, you know, that's something is real close to what it would be to be owning.
To own the property and
Yeah.
let it appreciate.
Yeah, and putting a couple other people in there, but
Okay.
yeah, the industrial market's good. The retail and office space is getting better.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's getting better, but the demand is still really strong for the industrial.
Okay. Okay. So basically, things that at this point can be replaced by AI.
Right.
So,
Yes.
and that's the thing in service businesses too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people that take care of people, and I think
Yeah.
after COVID, we had a big disconnect as far as connection.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's a resurgence in, you know, like massage and
For sure.
estheticians and
Mm-hmm.
personal trainers. I mean, you know, it gives us an opportunity to connect with people on a one-on-one basis. And, you know, like when I had my studio at the Satellite Hotel, I mean, one of the challenges I had is they started, like, when COVID hit, they tried to double my rent. I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. You know, so I kind of went private for a while, and then found this great location, and getting ready to look at a second location, which I already signed the lease. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, no, we do have. I mean, like you said though, recently I have done leases for hair salon, nail tech, massage. I have someone looking for a restaurant right now, so it's,
Okay.
that what you're saying is very relevant.
Right. And the other thing that I'm seeing is like the TRT and the peptides.
Yeah.
The doctors that are promoting that, and I think that's going to be huge. I mean, they're basically going before Congress now, or filed a lawsuit with the FDA to make these more available to people. You know, as we get older, you know, it's all about quality of life. You know, and I've learned that it's more about how I feel than how I look. So if I can feel good and still look good, then great. I'm not going to do the things to my body that I did when I was younger. And same with you. You don't play with the same intensity when you're playing hockey now. Right? You're a little more
Definitely.
held back.
I'm trying to get into the over 45 year. We don't have a league yet for 45 and older, but
Okay.
I'm gonna create one.
Not trying to do any fancy stuff like Conor McGregor last night.
No. Stay away from that.
What a disappointment that was. How's this feeling?
Yeah, it's feeling strong. It's on the off right now.
Yeah, but when it contracts, so
Yeah, it feels
what do you feel like your lats? You feel it's like doing a pull down without using your arms.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of hard to achieve.
Right.
And I don't know if you know this, but like I've trained with a lot of wounded warriors, and I've been able to build shoulder muscles, traps with a missing arm, missing limbs, you know. So the muscle stimulator basically goes deep into those fibers, and it hits the underlying tissue as well. So it's doing a lot of things. It's increasing circulation of the muscle, it's stimulating the muscle for growth, your type 2 fibers. It's also increasing circulation to your tendons and ligaments. So as we get older, they're getting choked out. They're not getting the blood supply they did when we were younger, you know. So this is a valuable tool to kind of just keep that longevity going, you know, keep that quality of life. And how many kids do you got now? Two. But they keep you busy because they're into sports. And so his son Jax, which there's a great story about Jax and my granddaughter Dallas, but we'll talk about that another time. He plays hockey and lacrosse. And then your daughter is playing basketball. Okay. Yeah. Are you coaching the teams?
Hockey and lacrosse.
Okay.
Basketball. You know, I'm not the coach. I'm just the dad.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Right. So, some business tips, you know, for people out there looking to start their own business, buy a business, buy some real estate. What would you say that you're seeing and feeling in the market? Because I know that you've done a lot of great marketing stuff for, I think it goes back to like Springs Automotives is what I remember you having a big involvement in.
Yeah.
And then of course building your own business with Tiffany.
Yep.
Homegirl Tiffany, right?
Your homegirl Tiff.
Your homegirl Tiff. Okay. But what advice could you give some
for the small business owner, just making sure that I think as a small business is you're just in hustle mode.
Right.
You know, and working and never taking your foot off the from a marketing standpoint, lead generation standpoint. And then if you're transferring into a wanting to have a space of your own, than just focusing on some financials and making sure, because owners want to see financials
Right.
from anyone that's newer in business and
Okay.
like wanting to get, they have big dreams that they want to have this business, but they've never really done it before. Well, the owners want to make sure that you're in a space that you can do that. So having some type of financials, and then once you get into that space and thriving in that space, your rent keeps going up. And at some point, you can look at buying a building and renting the other spaces out.
Right.
And just think of like a house where you have 4 roommates and your mortgage goes down.
Okay.
So.
But yet your land is appreciating.
Yeah, you have the asset.
Asset.
Right?
Yeah.
You have an asset. The asset's going up. So I always tell people we buy real estate for 5 reasons. One being cash flow, which. If you're that first person and you have a house and you want to get 4 roommates, you're not gonna have a lot of cash flow. You're really just lowering your expenses.
Right.
And meanwhile, you're paying down the mortgage, which is the second reason I would buy real estate, because someone else is paying your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have that ability to, I talk about third being for tax purposes.
Yeah.
You can depreciate. 4th being appreciation, and 5 being leverage. But once you start owning real estate, you get to benefit from all 5 of them.
Right.
And then that's really how you build wealth. Then
Sure.
at that point, you don't have a job, you have a business. If you wanted to rent your space out and not have your business anymore, you still get paid from an asset, versus if you had a business for 20 years and then you stopped in business, well, you didn't really have a business, you had a job.
Right.
Because once you stopped making money.
Right. Exactly.
Versus you could have an asset that continues to go up in value, and meanwhile in the hard years you're grinding and that mortgage is going down, and then eventually you could potentially refinance, have your payment lower. Now you have all these people paying your rent.
Borrow against your property if you need to,
absolutely.
buy another property.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
sure.
And so once you start doing that, then it's just compound interest of the values.
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense, because I've talked to a lot of business owners that have basically said that they've actually just created a job for themselves.
Yeah.
Instead of like something that they can see. And there that old movie, Just Build It and They Will Come, Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
Yeah, it's the beginning is hustle.
Yeah. And it's passion. You gotta
anything worthwhile. It's
right.
not easy. Yeah, it's definitely passion, because you gotta have a bigger reason why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And enjoying doing it. If you're gonna have a job that's a / business, you want to make sure you enjoy
right.
going to work every day.
And the one thing that you said, I always say to my daughter, and it's keep your foot on the gas.
Yeah.
Because if you're focused and you're driven, there's a reason the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror. You just got to keep moving forward. Yeah. And we're going to have ups and downs in every business, and it's just like a lot of it comes down to belief systems. A lot of it comes down to your mission. A lot of businesses don't even have mission statements. They don't even know what that is anymore. They just start it because they like falafels. So they're gonna open a falafel store thinking everybody loves falafels.
Right.
But it's also demographics. So let's talk about location.
Yeah.
Location.
Yeah, most important words in real estate.
Right. As much in industrial versus maybe a restaurant, not so much, because it's a destination
right.
business.
Right, absolutely. And yeah, the depending on, we have retail space at $12 a square foot, and then up in Briargate and in Monument areas it's $40 a square foot.
Yes.
Right, and so it's a different demographic, and it's newer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when new real estate comes out, a lot of times it's more expensive.
Right.
But location. Yeah, the 3 most important words in real estate, and it makes a difference on what you get in rent, but it also makes a difference on what you pay for it.
Right.
So,
right.
It
comes down to that bottom line.
Yeah, and I think people in different seasons of their life are looking for cash flow, and some people are looking for appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I think that as a newer investor or entrepreneur, you're kind of focused more on cash flow, because you can't. The appreciation's silent.
Yeah.
But you can't afford to not have enough money to pay your mortgage or your rent or your employees.
Right.
And so you're needing that, and and then as you get older, and you have maybe enough to maybe a month or two where you don't have a tenant in place, so you got to pay that mortgage, you got to pay their rent.
Right.
You probably cash flow is not a big issue for you, and
Mm-hmm.
you're buying that for appreciation and leverage.
Right.
And
So location. But one thing I've noticed, driving around town is how many car washes,
yeah,
storage facilities,
both cash flow.
cash flow, and then what's the other big one I've been seeing? Car washes, storage facilities, of course, convenience stores are popping up everywhere. But it's the storage facilities that I think intrigue me.
Yeah.
And you've got a few of those listed.
Yeah, for sale.
Yeah, for sale.
Yeah, and it's probably the easiest commercial building to own because it's cheap. They start at $175,000.
Yeah.
And so nowadays storage getting so dang expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you could own, like one of my clients bought a storage unit and just rented it out to an industrial building person.
Right.
Right, and so now they own an asset.
Okay.
And they can start. I think her payment on it's like $1,100, and I rented it for $1,400.
Okay.
And so there's just another, you want to get into real estate, but you can't afford it because it's so expensive. Well, these storage units aren't. But in general, storage units are, they're popular because they don't take a lot of employees. They don't take a lot of operating expenses.
You can almost run it as an absentee business.
You can almost run it and the valuation is tied to how much you're getting for it. So if you buy a storage unit that has, 70% occupancy,
mm-hmm.
The value's way down because it's valued off of the rent rolls,
right.
And the net operating income. So if you can get that rent up and get the units leased out, and you're good at marketing, and you can do that, then a lot of times the value is going to go up.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I think one of the most creative storage facilities I've seen that just intrigued me was the one off of 85, 87 in Academy, where they basically like circled the wagons.
Yeah.
They're using those connexes, and it's like it's like all in this big loop, So they use the connexes as the wall to get into the facility. Yeah. And I thought it was brilliant. But
it is brilliant.
Yeah, so there's definitely market changes, market trends.
Yeah. And
sometimes you got to zoom out and just say, hey, where do I want to be? Well, we haven't worked out together in 12 years. Yeah. A lot has changed.
Yeah.
So
I think the senior housing piece is starting to it's already has, we see housing already in general being very expensive, where you can get multiple people co-living. I think is already started, and we're going to continue to see that, where you have, and it's no different than like commercial space. You just have the house and you get more people in there.
Right.
It's the same theory and same thought process of getting a building and having multiple businesses.
Kind of like the sober living homes.
Living homes, co-living, because you
adult daycares even now.
Daycares,
yeah. So
that's why I think that's going to be you're going to see a big increase swing in that.
Yeah, it's I think it's a good way to transition elderly people without putting them, in a facility.
Yeah.
And that's what they feel like they're going into. So anyway, Brian Canady, dynamic real estate mogul, and Hoff and Lee, right?
Yeah, Hoff and Lee. Yep.
And
red and white signs.
What's that?
Red and white signs.
Red and white signs. You'll see them all over town.
All over town.
So if you
my cell is 719-433-1102.
All right. So I'm getting ready to turn him up and make him cry a little bit. So we don't want you to witness that, but no, we don't go that high. How's it feeling so far?
It feels good.
Very therapeutic, right?
Yeah.
So kind of feels like a massage.
Yeah. Like one of the Theraguns.
Yeah. It's like a deep tissue,
tissue.
Yeah. I went for a Rolfing session once with this big Ukrainian girl.
Okay.
And it was the most painful thing I ever did in my life. Because, it was like she was trying to debone my spine, like from a fish. And she was convinced there was something underneath my scapula that she was trying to get. Had my arm back behind me. I was like, I'm not coming back.
Speaking of fish, I go fishing. I go to Alaska for an annual trip on Saturday.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, my whole life.
Yeah. All right, so, hey, thanks for your time, Brian Canady, and we'll see you on the next one. Oh, commercial break.
Oh, there you go.